All right, hello everybody. Welcome to, this is basically just the what's in my bag slash gear overview, part two. Obviously I did one before I started the Appalachian Trail, and right now I'm currently in the middle of hiking it. I'm in Hot Springs, North Carolina. I'm about 18 days in, so a little over 2 weeks. And right now I'm basically just gonna be going over what I have in my bag compared to what I had when I started, because there's been some things that have changed, a lot of things that haven't changed. But yeah, we will get right into it. We're gonna start off with talking about our sleeping equipment, because there is a lot of stuff that, well, I guess not really a lot, but there is stuff that changed with that. We've gotten rid of some equipment. The pillow that I had originally had, the Big Sky pillow, is getting sent back. I don't need that. I haven't found use for a pillow. And then the stuff sack for this thermarest mat is getting sent back. So essentially what I'm gonna do is, instead of rolling this up and putting it in its own individual stuff sack, I'm just gonna be rolling it up and putting it in the same stuff sack as this sleeping bag. And this also is staying the same. So the sleeping bag, the mat, still the same. Basically all that's changed with the sleeping equipment is that I've gotten rid of the pillow and gotten rid of the stuff sack for the mat. That's basically just going in with the sleeping bag just to conserve on weight, very minimal amounts. But yeah, that's about it for sleeping equipment. That's all that's changed with that. Up next, we have the tent. This is just the Z-Pack Solplex Light. Not much has changed with this. I haven't used it much just because I've been staying in the shelters for the most part. The only thing I've done differently with this is, instead of just carrying the tent stakes in a separate bag, I've just thrown them in here with the tent. But yeah, nothing different with the tent. So the tent has stayed the same since the very beginning for these first 2 weeks. All right, on to cooking equipment and water filter equipment. There has been some major changes in this department. I have my stove that I had originally had was the Jetboil Stash, and I still have the pot for that. But as you can see right here, I've gotten a new stove. It's just the Lycamp, I believe, or the Lycamp stove. Just got it in an outfitter around here, and it's, the pot fits on it well. I just had to get a new stove because the one that came with the Jetboil Stash I don't know if the threading was broken or whatnot, but that stopped working on me, so I had to get a new one. But besides that, nothing's changed in the cooking department. I still have the same Jetboil pot. Been using, changing out fuel canisters whenever I need to, get the same spoon and whatnot. But yep, just had to get a new stove. So that's nice, it works pretty well. And then water filter, I had to start a Sawyer Squeeze, and there's nothing wrong with the Sawyer Squeeze. Sawyer's amazing, works good, you back flush it a lot. But from experience with what I saw on the trail, I switched over to the Platypus Quick Draw, and it's a much easier filter, has a better flow, and it's a bit easier to back flush too. You just use the CNOC bag to push the water back through. But yeah, so I'm sending the Sawyer back. And I got one of these, it's a bit lighter as well, so that's very nice. And yeah, I still have the same CNOC bag, obviously, and whatnot. So that's all the change with the water filter equipment. Next up, we have clothing and footwear, which after these first 2.5 weeks, this is the category that has kind of the most changed so far. I'm sending some stuff back. I've got some new stuff. But yeah, we'll start off with footwear. Actually, I had the Hoka GXDs or something like that. They were basically a boot. This is not them, these are my new shoes, but those are getting sent back because I kind of had an ankle issue. So I decided to get a pair of trail runners. These are Topos. I think they're the Traverse or something like that. Very nice. They're a very durable shoe. I've tried them on and walked around a little bit. But yeah, I'm sending the boots back. It's a much lighter shoe there. So yeah, I'd be interested to see how those fare on the trail. There's nothing wrong with the Hokas. I was tired of having a boot rather than a trail runner. So yeah, got those. And then I sent back for clothing items. I had a pair of Patagonia like fleece pants that were just cold gear, so I'm sending those back because I still have my smart wool base layers, both the top and the bottoms. So nothing from my original clothing has changed. Besides that, I'm sending back, and those were pretty heavy pants. They were probably a half pound, potentially even more. They're very warm, just for the earlier months of February, or the earlier days of February. So those are getting sent back, losing about a half a pound there. Besides that, I still have all of the same clothes. I got the Mountain Hardwear puppy and the Sky Goat fleece microgrid, and then got my mittens and stuff like that. Still got my hat. Along with clothing, I guess we'll throw in rain gear. Nothing's changed with that. I still have my very beat up now rain pants. These have been amazing because I also use them as wind pants when it's windy, not just rainy. So that's something that's been very good. I've used these as, almost like a windbreaker. The rain jacket, I haven't really used it all besides once. It's rained one time, so I've used the rain jacket for that. Have the ankle gaiters, which I feel like are gonna come into play a lot more with the trail runners rather than the boots, just because the boots, they're high top and a bunch of stuff got in, and they were also mainly Gore-Tex, so they were relatively waterproof. These Topos are not, so the gaiters will definitely come in handy more in the future. There's the rain jacket and the rain mitts. This is one of them. I don't know where the other one is, but these are good. It was good for the one time that it did rain. I kept my mittens warm, so these are good. Very light. They weigh nothing, so I'll be hanging on to these. But yeah, that's about it for clothing. Probably lost about close to a pound on stuff I'm sending back with that, between the pants and the boots. So yeah, definitely good there. All right, now we have first aid. This is my first aid bag and also my hygiene bag. And to be quite honest, all of this has stayed the same. I've added a couple things. I did remove one thing. The thing that I added was some chapstick I picked up in Franklin. That's been very useful. I don't know why I didn't think to bring that in the first, gear video. I don't know why I didn't bring that. It was definitely a necessary item. My lips got chapped by like day 3. So that was bad. And from my first aid bag, which I guess this is a hygiene item, I don't know why it was in my first aid bag, but I sent back, I had a little container like this big of, I believe it was body wash or shampoo or something like that, just for the showers. And I found out I didn't need that, and it was relatively heavy. So I sent that back. So yeah, that's about it for hygiene and first aid. I kept everything else besides that. Moving on to our last category here, we have all of the miscellaneous items, stuff that I throw in my mesh and whatnot. We'll start off with electronics. Nothing has been added or removed from our electronic bag. The only thing that has changed is I've separated them into 2 separate Ziploc bags. Now I just have in one bag the actual battery banks and my headlamp, just in this one. And then in this one I have all the cords slash like bricks, stuff that you plug into the wall. And yeah, so that definitely helps because it didn't really all fit in one bag. To have that separated into 2 was very good. That's the only thing that's changed there. Still have bear spray. I did decide to keep that because I haven't run into a bear yet. The more and more I'm out here, the more I realize that there's many people out here, and there's been times where I've actually just kind of had my food bag like in the shelter, overnight. So I don't think this is a problem. The next time I get a visit from family, this will probably be getting sent back because it does weigh like probably close to a half a pound. But for now, I'm just gonna keep it. But that will definitely be getting sent back relatively soon. Have my paracord and rock bag for when I need to throw a bear bag. I actually haven't used this yet because there's been bear cables or a bear box everywhere that I've stayed. If I have to stealth camp somewhere or at a tent site where there's not cables, I'll probably end up using this. But like I said before, later into this Thru-Hike, I might get to the point where I just have my food almost on me, which I know that sounds crazy. That goes against everything I've ever learned backpacking, but people don't seem to be worried about it. Maybe if I was alone, all by myself and just tenting, not in a shelter, maybe I'll definitely throw up a bear bag. But it seems to be when there's more than one person, it doesn't seem to be that big of a deal. So yeah, definitely hanging on to that for now. Paracord is always just good to have anyway. Very useful. But nothing's changed there. Have my camp shoes, and I shouldn't even really call them camp shoes. I should call them town shoes because I've never actually worn these while I'm hiking. These have only been for when I'm in a town or a hostel. The the will to want to pull these out of the bottom of my bag when I'm getting to a shelter or finally set up, my tent at the end of the day is zero. I don't want to do that. I'll just wear my boots until I get in my tent, or the shelter, which is like usually right after I get there. I set up my stuff and I go to bed just because I'm tired. So I never really pull these out besides when I'm in a town, but I'll be hanging on to these obviously because I do need a town shoe. Still have the little Thermarest sit pad. It's been good, been very useful for how light it is. Use it for when I'm cooking somewhere where there's not an actual seat. But yeah, that's definitely been good. And honestly, the last, but definitely not least, this is what I found the most interesting item that's being sent back is I'm keeping this one just because it requires one tent pole or one trekking pole to set up my Z-Packs tent. I had two. I'm sending one back. I found that 90% of the day, if not 100%, I'm not even using these or hiking with them. I started off hiking with them, and then I started hiking with somebody who didn't use them at all. I was like, wow, it's crazy that you're not hiking with trekking poles. And they're like, hey, you should try it. Honestly, it sometimes feels better. And I did try it, and honestly, I like it. Sometimes it's beneficial to have one on a very rainy day or a snowy day for downhills and stuff like that. But besides that, I find it annoying actually now to hike with these when I don't need to, but I do have to carry at least one for my tent. The Z-Packs tent requires one to set up, and it's probably good to just have one for downhills, like I said before, when it's slippery out. But yeah, definitely the most interesting thing. I did not think I would be not hiking with these, but yeah. Other than that, I've kept everything. Like I said, the stuff that I've sent back, I think really is just one trekking pole. I swapped out my shoes. I sent the Sawyer back, swapped out the filter, had to get a new stove. Trying to think, what else did I send back? Obviously, I don't know if I mentioned that, those pants. But yeah, probably cutting some weight, but also gaining some weight because this food bag that I have for this next hike out is like 6 to 7 pounds. It's a massive food bag just because I'm doing a little bit of a food carry, and it's always nice to have some food. As you might have seen in the last videos, I didn't have a lot of food coming out of the Smokies and I was not comfortable. So definitely got some more food this time. But yeah, that's been the bag update. Basically 2 weeks in, a lot of stuff has changed, and I suspect a lot of stuff will probably change in the next 2 weeks after I have some availability to send some stuff back and maybe get some new stuff. I'm sure I'll acquire some new gear. So yeah, see you in the next one.